So hello class, this is recording of the lecture that we could not complete previous day. So last time we discussed about the sensors that we frequently use for mining application. They are temperature, humidity, dust and few other things like your strain gauges and all. So we had just previously discussed there are basically four type of temperature sensors or temperature sensors that are dependent on four different kind of physics. One first type is of thermocouple. As we had discussed that materials with different electron affinity when coupled together, and if the one terminal is heated and other terminal is kept in cold, then there is a EMF generation. Using this principle, using this principle, some there are some sensors that use this principle to measure the temperature differences. And other class of temperature sensors are that are of resistive nature. As we have read in our class 12 that resistivity of a material increases with rise in temperature. So if we could somehow measure the change in resistance of a wire coil, then we can reverse calculate the change in temperature of that conductor. Using this principle also, we have some of our temperature sensors. And last but not the least, we have our semiconductor temperature sensors. These are simple small semiconductor devices that gives a voltage output depending on the current temperature the sensor is in. In last class, we also discussed about these, also solved some of the problems related to this, that sometimes it may happen the sensor or the output, the voltage level the sensor is giving its output on may not be compatible with your microcontroller you are reading with. Let's say your sensor may give outputs in 12 volt or say 9 volt, but your microcontroller may be capable of handling only up to 3.6 6 voltages. So that in that case, you may have to you may have to reduce your input voltage by circuitries like voltage divider. And voltage dividers have many other applications also. And formula for voltage divider is basically very simple. We just calculate the current due to this voltage and just compute what will be the voltage at this point. Another notable point here is that when we are using a microcontroller as an input device or defining a particular pin as an input pin, we technically setting a very high input resistance for this pin. That's why we pretty much neglect the current coming through this pin. That's why we can pretty much assume that voltage drop in this circuit is pretty much equal to R1 into I1. Depending on this assumption only, we derive this formula. Last day we also solved this example that suppose you have designed a measurement circuit assuming that you are using 2 ohm resistance as R1 and 3 ohm as R2, but the resistors were actually slightly different than the value accepted, than the value assumed. So what will be your total error in your estimation? And suppose you got some readings over here. So assuming that your V in was 5 volt and you got some reading over there, and because of this mismatch of your resistance, there will be some error in your estimation. That we calculated through our calculators. And we also discussed that for very small change of resistance, we may need to use this configuration of Wheatstone bridges, because you can understand there, if there is a small change in this resistance or any of these two resistance, there is a very insignificant change in V out. But in this case of Wheatstone registers, if Wheatstone setup, if any of the resistance are changed for a slightest of amount, we can witness a greater change among these two terminals. Now coming to dust. As you can see, if a light beam is there and there is presence of dust, depending on the concentration of dust, you can actually see the scattering of light beam over there. It is a basic experiment, and depending on this physics, our optical dust sensors um, are devised. So these are basically digital sensors. Unlike for analog sensors we discussed for temperature and all, these don't have to have the complications of that having a analog interface for it, because all these analog portions are inbuilt in the sensor, and through this pin we straight away get our digital output that are directly compatible with our microcontrollers. That's why reading digital sensors become pretty much easy for us compared to analog things. And this is one class of combustible gas sensors that are quite often used in our minds. This is dependent on the principle that if this chamber represents this one, this is depending on the principle that if we put a heater in a closed environment and combustible gases enter in this chamber, these are actually made of permeable nets. Net in the sense these are porous stuff. Inside this, when the combustible gases will enter, due to this heater, oxidation shall start, and because of that heat generated, this resistance would increase. And by measuring this increase in the resistance, we can actually estimate what concentration of combustible gases are present in the surrounding. This you can see is basically that voltage divider setup. Two resistance are in parallel, and from the junction point we are taking a V out. The principle is whenever this resistance change, this V out shows the changes in the output. And there is a rare load register that is tunable, which is basically, you can see a portion of it here. You just before just using your sensor, you just calibrate it to a level that you get your desired voltage output from this pin. And these are the strain gauges that we just discussed. In the rock mechanics, they have pretty much uses from our lab to even our field experiment, and in the civil engineering too, they have quite bit of application of strain gauges and all. And this is diagram of a humidity sensor. Humidity sensor is basically a capacitor. As we know that air can serve as a dielectric, and if the humidity of air changes, the dielectric constant also changes proportionately. So if we can have a capacitive plate in between which air can enter through, then with change in humidity of the surrounding air, the capacitance of this element will change, and that change in capacitance is measured by an analog circuitry here, and that is then converted to a digital one wire signal, and then it is measured through our microcontroller. This sensor generally comes enclosed in this kind of casing. This one is a plastic casing, and that encapsulate this portion. And there are pretty much other kind of sensors. That is, this is your LDR sensor that changes its resistance with light falling on it. That means in darkness it gives a very high resistance, and when it is under light, its resistance reduces. So overall purpose of this lecture was that how using a physical a phenomenon of a physics, we just come up with a method of digitizing our digitizing our data related to our physical phenomena. So in our last lab, we had also did this experiment. Purpose of this experiment was just to give you understanding that, let me zoom in here, that how these two rectifier circuits actually perform. In this case, uh, change in resistance also changes the output voltage here, and as you can see that change is minimal compared to the total voltage condition here. Previously it was 4.5, and just by increasing the resistance by 10 ohm, it just increased by 0.2 volt, and which is very minimal compared to this standalone initial voltage condition. But when the same resistance is in Wheatstone bridge configuration, there a slight change in the resistance, presuming it was a strain gauge or some resistive sensor, we can witness a ratio wise a very huge change in our voltage output. Previously it was 0, and just because in case of our engineering application, we tune other resistance in a pattern that for a steady state condition or for a general condition we get a 0 output here, and in that case with the slightest change we get a huge change in our voltage reading. So this way we actually measure the change in our voltages that are very easily captured by our microcontrollers. So that's all for today. Thank you.